Sorry about that, ladies and germs. Here we go.
The X2 antenna can be used to focus your alpha wave frequency thought patterns. The sneaky suit? Why, it houses a cardiac regulator. And the sonic sound wave projecto emitter was never intended as a weapon. It was a medicinal vertebrae pulse desensitizer. In short, brains, a heart, and courage. Spine. I think there was a story once where a band of murderous thugs sought these things. They had them all the time in the story. Didn't stop them from murdering to get them. And it won't stop the think tank either. Indeed. The goodbye part of our little chat then. Goodbye. Please mind the equations on the floor.
I can't kill Dr. Mobius. He's too cool. My brain. It needs me. Brain? It's my brain.
Well, well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland.
That's my voice?
Where have we been? Crawling through pits of radioactive muck again?
I sound like one of the Beatles.
Ah, lovely. Figured that out, have we? Would you like a cookie? Well, that's a fine how do you do. Me, quote, dick, unquote. As if I'm the one responsible for the way you carry on gadding about the wastes. I'm not the one that makes us clamber around Technus-infested ancient vaults or go charging off to New Vegas on missions of ill-conceived revenge. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Do you think...
This guy sounds like Stewie Griffin and the Beatles.
I most certainly am not. I'm the seat of all reason and logic in our little partnership. All those feelings that motivate you, do you know where those come from? Glands. They come from glands. Free of the tyranny of your ape-like and primitive endocrine system, I can see how foolish your motives are. Well...
Yeah, man.
It's all a very...
Endocrine system's full of glands. I just learned about this in bio again the other day.
Oh, all right. Perhaps I am, but at least I'm logical about it. I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is definitely not that appealing. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd rogue scorpion. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly injuries, and biological functions. Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? It's quite a lot, I can tell you.
I've never seen me urinate.
Overrated biological feedback. Believe me, you only feel that way because you've got all that meat. Oozing hormones. I suppose you're right. That does call certain assumptions into question, doesn't it? Indeed, quite the conundrum. How do you suppose we resolve it? I suppose there might be some advantage to that, yes. There's a chance that the reintegration would create some improved synergy between us. Well, I suppose you've convinced me well enough. I'll rejoin your body if that's your final decision. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, we have a problem. Even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those pesky nerve endings, Dr. Mobius doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brains are inclined to share. And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived of my fabulous advice, but... Really? Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they'll find a way past the radar fence and the whole Mojave will be their playground. And that is assuming, of course, that one of them doesn't take a fancy to our body and decide to slip his own brain into it instead. Well, I suppose I do miss those endorphin rushes when we save the day. All right, what's the plan?
If the think tank won't hold up their bargain, we'll make them. Let's go.
Right. Look out, think tank. This
Oh
thing
my-
is coming out of its jar. I suppose now that we're reunited, you'll want to fill your torso up with those other meaty parts the think tank took from us. Personally, I think your upgrades are quite a bit better. But now that I'm with you, the Sync's autodock can plug them back in no problem. Right then, off we go. Clyde will be in for a nasty shock when he realizes the pacification field won't work on a mind and body reunited.
Your brain added. Nice. See ya, Mobius. You're kind of cool, actually. I enjoyed your company. And I broke my legs. Whoa. Oh yeah, I forgot. He just kind of disappeared. I never really noticed. I'm on the road again. Well, I think we're nearing the end of this DLC. And people, I can tell you, this DLC was sweet. If anyone's watching this at this point, I say you should buy this. It is a really good DLC. Personally, I think. If you're a big fan of Fallout, see, I was thinking about this the other day. The whole numbering system for reviews kind of sucks. I say if you're a big fan of Fallout, even if you're not really and you're just looking for a DLC, this is the DLC. Even the first one was pretty good. Hey, Muggy.
You require some additional services?
Your heart is back in your body. Healing items are twice as effective. Okay, so we got my heart back.
You require some additional...
Swap body parts. Reattach your spine. But your strength and damage threshold bonuses have doubled. Cool. Hey, Jukebox.
What's the haps?
Oh, goodbye, Toaster the Toaster. Okay, quests. I don't really want to go back for that last audio sample. I totally forgot about it. Dr. Klein awaits. Make sure you've prepared for this, or prepared to finish this once and for all. Am I prepared? I hope so. Are we looking? Yeah, I think I'm prepared. Okay. Ah, crap.
The lobotomite returns. Our lobotomite. Has Dr. Mobius been denominated into scrap metal and voice module parts, as we hoped? I recommend watching your tone with me, lobotomite. Now, your brain. Hand it over, or we'll extract it again. And what could we possibly have to speak about? You have the brain, we have the technology. All you must do is surrender. With it, we can finally leave this place. I cannot tell you how boring this place gets, chopping up the landscape and everything in it. And we have so many questions to ask your brain first. About this Mojave place. A fertile testing ground for our experiments. That is the most insane thing I've ever heard. There's no way Mobius would condescend to step inside you. Besides, there's no way such a thing could be accomplished. It's impossible. You speak the truth. And the decibel variation in your voice, it is Mobius. How dare you breach the think tank? And what do you want here? A fight? I've never been in a fight. What do I... Ah! Colleagues! Think tank! Alert! Alert! We are under attack! Fight!
Oh my god!
Power up.
Ha ha ha! On. The hell? Okay, whatever. Sec. Dr. Klein will be first. Goodbye, Dr. Klein. You were an awful person. Never did find out why Dala was so, curious. God, these guys suck. Goodbye, Dr. O. You guys were awful people all along. Leave the think tank. Leave! Don't I need to put my brain in for it? Okay, maybe not.
As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The Courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it and keeping its discoveries safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The Courier had scoured much of the Big Empty, although secrets still remained in the crater's...
Oh, that's so dumb.
Perhaps that was for the best, however.
I needed one more audio file.
Sometimes rewarded for its efforts, often proves to be equally dangerous.
Dr. Mobius continued his research undisturbed in the Forbidden Zone. As much as he had attempted to create better Scorpions, he tried the same with humanity, with considerably less success. These failures didn't bother him over much. Once the rush of Mentats wore off, he forgot he had failed in any event. After all, the bright young mind who had come to visit him in the Forbidden Zone had already exceeded his expectations.
The sink atop the dome bustled with the voices of a small town, constantly chirping, arguing, and snarling at each other. Still, this all happened productively in the interests of its new owner. The Sync Central Intelligence Unit discovered, despite its inversion code, it was comforted by the sense of community the other personalities gave it.
The biological research station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden, so that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours.
God, that thing's gross.
The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
The book shoot continued to develop.